Safety. It's a big thing in the workshop. If you don't feel safe doing something or you just don't feel comfortable, don't do it. You're the only person who can keep you safe. And if you don't do it, no one else can.
Okay, without further ado, because we're running a little late here, I want to introduce Richard. He's going to talk to us about making shaving brushes and talk about some specialty equipment, etc., that's useful in doing this.
Welcome to the presentation. What's this demo about? Well, I'd like it to be about my process. And it's my process, it's the way that I like to work, and that's what I want to try and explain a little bit. First thing that you have to answer to yourself is, what am I going to make? What is it I'm trying to do? Now, you may have a customer who has very specific demands or needs, or you may be putting together material to sell, trade fair, something like that. So now, if you have a customer, he's going to try and tell you what he wants somehow or other. He's going to maybe give you a sample. You know, I need another chair leg like this, or whatever it is. Or he may have some photographs. And he may have a number of items he wants you to make. Maybe he wants you to make half a dozen different variations. Maybe shaving brush handles. Doesn't want all the same thing. He'd like a selection. So I go through that process with a customer and exchange information backwards and forwards, usually on the internet. I'll receive photographs and I'll make a sketch. And I use Draft Site. I don't know if any of you know anything about drafting, but Draft Site is a free program that you can download, and it's almost identical to AutoCAD.
You say it's Draft Site?
Draft Site. Yeah, D-R-A-F-T-S-I-G-H-T.
I'll ask you what that was called.
Yeah, I'll see if I can remember. So what I will do is create a drawing of the item as I think the customer wants it. And here's an example. Where's that camera?
Why are we getting two of them?
Oh, because one's not enough.
Here's an, whoop, I'll hold up the right way. Here's an example of a drawing that I ended up with talking backwards and forwards to my customer, and we ended up with 5 basic products. The reason there's 10 is because the size on the end for the brush to go in, the knot size, is different, but the outside shapes are the same. So what that gives me is something for me to work with, and something for the customer, based on his sales or whatever, his desires, to say, oh, make me 4 of those number 1s, or 2 of those number 3s, or whatever. We can communicate backwards and forwards, and it can be very clear. It's very difficult without, for me, I haven't thought of a better way, to be able to communicate and say, what is it you want, you know. So I'll pass that around. Okay.
And it generates that drawing as a PDF?
It can, yes, it will. It generates it as a DWG, as a drawing file, but you can export it as a PDF.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what I usually do, Norm. I export it as a PDF to email, because everyone can open a PDF. Here are some other drawings. You can tell I'm a bit of a technical detail nut, but this serves another purpose to me as well. Here's a drawing showing, or 2 drawings, showing the steps.
Yeah, let me just see if I can get into that.
The steps that I go through to make a pepper mill. And this is as much for me, like 6 months down the road, to remember how the hell did I do that. This reminds me. As most of you probably know, I post a lot of videos as well on YouTube. And I find that helps me too, because how did I do that? I can go back and look. So that is a, it's a bit of a memory aid as well. And I'll pass them around too. With a drafting program, when you've created that, like with the first ones with the handles, you've done all the drafting in order to produce a preacher. Let me take my shake out of that for you there, maybe. A preacher, and what this does, it allows you to mark on the piece of wood the important diameters for you to turn to. The highs and the lows. So, I'll pass this one around for people to see. So having done the work drafting, it's not all wasted. You end up with, if anyone's allergic to magnets, be careful, there's one on there. Similarly to that peppermill one, and what I do is I'll laminate it like this is, so that I have a preacher here for the peppermill.
I've never heard that one.
Preacher. It's used in wood turning for, often it's a stick with some V's in it and a shoulder to go against one of the ends or both ends. And you hold it against the running piece, put your pencil in the V, and it will scribe a line around at pertinent points along the chair leg or whatever it is. This is also something I work with a customer. And we developed, between Don and I, we developed some tools that he uses for his fantastic parts that he makes that require special sanding and grinding and what have you. But the same problem existed between Don and I when we communicated backwards and forwards, that we talk about the same thing. So part of this is that each part is numbered, and the other is that the date of that drawing is on there. So Don is able to say, look, could you shorten up that part by 1/4 inch? What part? Part number 4 on that drawing, shorten it up by 1/4 inch. I know exactly what he's talking about then, and there's less errors. So I'll pass those around too. So what today, you had a good clue what it is we're going to make. Well, what I'm going to show you how I make today is these handles for making shaving brushes. So,
What do you use that for?
it's a makeup brush. When you put your highlighter on, and this,
Okay, I understand that.
okay, it can be nice and soft. I don't have much experience with that, but I do shave once a month at least. Okay, so we saw them. Another one is with a customer, and that's the part about communicating backwards and forwards to the customer. You may develop things on speculation as well. You're going to go to a trade fair, or you're going to sell items somewhere, and you think this would be a good item to sell, so you'll make it. And if you don't document it somehow, whether it's a hand sketch or whatever it is, or whether it's photographs with some dimensions written on it, and you go to the trade fair and you sell them all, they're all gone. What the hell, how did I make that exactly? What was the dimensions? What did it look like? Unless you've got some documentation, you've got 50 of the other things back, nobody liked those. You can easily make more of them though. So I find I like to document stuff, whether it's for a customer, or whether it's in communication, or whether it's for my own benefit for making it in the future. Okay. So we'll get started now. When you reach this point, you know what it is you're going to make. And you have a preacher, which is going to tell you the diameters. You can use a set of verniers, and the preachers I print full scale, one for one, so that I can use that preacher to set my calipers for the diameters at the different points.